Hi, I'm Mayce.
And I'm Missy.
We're best friends
and business partners. And each week, we're going to bring you a quote that inspires us, and we're going to talk about it.
Join us as we break down our favorite impactful messages for leadership and share how you can apply them to lead with confidence and purpose.
Get ready for a fun and authentic journey into leadership, life, and everything in between.
Well, hey, bestie.
Hey, bestie. So good to be here. Okay,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Did you ever notice that the older you get, the less you pretend to know everything?
Oh, absolutely. I think in our 20s, we're like, yes, I know it all.
Yep.
I read an article in Cosmo and it told me everything I need to know about life, right? But now it's like, I know nothing.
Right. That is so true. But honestly, I think the best leaders are the ones who stay curious instead of acting like they've arrived.
Yes. And I am so excited because today's guest knows a thing or two about growth. She knows about reinvention. She knows about pushing limits. So let's welcome our guest for this week. It's going to be a fun one. Buckle up. Toni Will. Welcome.
Yay! Toni, we are so glad you are here.
I tell you what, I need you hype girls with me everywhere.
Well, we are hype girls.
We can be your entourage.
We'll travel with you.
That's right. Toni, go ahead. Tell the listeners more about you because, quite frankly, you're fascinating.
Thank you. I am, so I guess by day, I am the general manager. I'm the general manager and governor for the men's professional hockey team called the Kalamazoo Wings. It's DelValle professional hockey, and I can explain more what that means, but it is pro hockey, and we're affiliated at both the American Hockey League and the National Hockey League, the NHL. And so I've been doing that for 12 years. In addition to my day job, I like to stay busy, and I launched my own lifestyle coaching business 5 years ago, and it's to help people reduce or remove alcohol from their lives. I am a non-drinker and stopped drinking almost 6 years ago, so I wanted to help other people do the same. It went into professional development coaching, which led to a podcast called Women In, which led to my conference, Empower Her, which then led to my book, Rebellious Success. And then I'm a wife and a mom and, and the partridge in the pear tree.
Okay, wait, listen. Rumor has it
That's right.
You are
I know what you're going to say, Mayce.
That you're a Guinness World Record holder, but we don't even know anything about that. So spill it, girl.
Yeah, 2-time.
What? Okay, tell us.
Yeah, so for the Kalamazoo Wings, the hockey team that I lead, we decided back in 2019 that we wanted to make a big impact. So we partnered with Guinness. And by partner, I mean you pay Guinness for their branding and you follow their rules. And for the largest lightsaber battle on Star Wars night. And it was an amazing event.
So May the 4th, Missy, in case you're wondering.
I knew that.
Okay.
I thought
you just had this look, and I was like,
I thought she said lifesaver. I thought she said lifesaver. And then when I heard the Star Wars night, then I knew it was lightsaber because I live in a home
Toni,
with a lot of
I feel like we're never getting to the quote because I just love it, adore her, and I have so many questions. So one of my questions about this Guinness lightsaber thing, did you hand them out?
We did. We had
so every guest that came in, you gave them. Okay.
Yes. And they were red and blue. They lit up just like lightsabers. And the pictures were phenomenal.
Oh my goodness.
Phenomenal. So we achieved that record and we were in the book in 2019. And then when we turned 50, when the hockey franchise turned 50 in 2024, we said, let's do it again. So it's 5 years later and we did most waving foam fingers.
Oh, cool.
And we had foam fingers made and they lit up and the whole thing. And that we achieved that record. And I will say the educator that was there, I actually interviewed her on my podcast. She said, Toni, this is not easy to do. And she goes, the fact that you've led this team through this twice, I can tell a woman was at the helm. It was one of the greatest compliments I had received.
Yes, that is so cool.
And I also have one more thing before we move.
Mayce, I want to say something about the finger though.
All right, go ahead.
That takes me such back to my childhood because I was like a junior high cheerleader when those came out, and I thought they were the greatest coolest things ever. And so you just went up on my list even more, Toni. I'm sorry, Missy. I had to get that out.
That's okay. We're talking about things, listeners, that are completely irrelevant to the podcast this week, but we're getting to know Toni. So one of the things, Toni, when we met you, I just thought was so, I don't know if inspiring is the word, or it made me just so curious and interested. Like, you were looking for a job in retail, or you had a job in retail?
I was looking for a job in retail. Okay, so you were looking
for a job in retail and wound up with hockey. So really quick, tell us that story.
Yeah, what did that look like?
Yeah, so there's a high-end fashion boutique in the Radisson Plaza Hotel, which is our marquee hotel downtown Kalamazoo. I used to shop there, only on sale. They were looking for a store manager. I had no experience in that, but I'm like, oh, I can learn. And I thought it would be, I've always liked fashion. And so I applied. HR called me. They knew me from my previous job, and they just said, you're overqualified. I said, I know. They said, you'll be bored. I said, that's okay. They said, no, we'll come back to you. They called me back 3 weeks later. We said, based on your resume and your talents and what we know about you in the community, we think we've got the job for you. And I said, what's that? And they said, Kalamazoo Wings. And I'm born and raised here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, so I know who they are. And I said, the hockey team? And they said, yes. And I said, can I swear? So I said, I don't know shit about hockey. And they said, they laughed. HR laughed. They said, I'm just being serious. And then they explained to me why they felt like I was a good fit. I said yes to the best job I never knew I wanted. And here we are nearly 12 years later.
I just love it. I love it so much. I feel like it just based on what we're going to talk about today, I think the context.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And Toni, thank you for saying yes. I mean, when we met you, and our listeners are already going like, oh, I get it. But we knew from the moment we connected that we had to learn from you, and we wanted our listeners to hear and learn from you. And today's a big day. Congratulations on your book release. I am so excited to read this one.
I know. I am excited too, because when we first met you, gave us a little sneak peek, and this is going to be a good one. So we'll share more at the end, listeners.
Yeah, thank you.
How you'll be able to get the book. But Missy, let's
I was going to say,
we got to get to
let's get to
share the quote. Missy,
it's a good one.
Share the quote.
It's from Albert Einstein, so you know it's good. And it's, the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know.
True statement.
So Toni and Mayce, let's talk about it. Toni, let's start with you. When you hear that quote, like, what comes to mind?
Yeah, well, I think of wisdom. I think there's a lot of power and strength in those 3 words. I don't know. Like when you ladies opened up, and it was like, yeah, in my 20s, I thought I knew everything. And I'm always like, say you don't know as I've gotten older, because that's how I was running the hockey team. I didn't know.
Right.
And so
let's figure it out.
Let's learn.
Yeah.
So, and I love to learn. So that's what I take away from that quote. Strength.
Love that. Yeah.
I love that too.
Do you have anything to piggyback on that?
No, I mean, I just think it is so interesting. Like, I have teenagers, so if you ask them, and you're both laughing because you've been through those years, like they know everything. Like they don't even know what the word encyclopedia means, but in their mind, they're the encyclopedia. They are him, as my youngest one would say, right? They know everything. And we are smart enough to know we don't know much, right? Like, we've been through, our experience has given us a lot of growth and knowledge and the life journey, but there is so much more. And I think that's exciting.
It is exciting.
There's a lot we don't know. And I think that's kind of fun.
Right. Like, I'm almost 30 and realize there are things I don't know. Just kidding.
Well, I would have believed you.
I didn't know you were almost 30. Our friends that are listening, they're like, girl.
Well, what's so funny though, Mayce, you talking about your kids, is that we were all there at one point. Thinking we knew it all. And so I think that's why this quote resonates so much, is because there's a saying down south. I don't know if y'all have heard it, but it's like, the older you are, the more you realize that your parents really did know what they were talking about. Kind of the same way. So I'm excited to dive into this with y'all.
Yeah. So So Toni, obviously you've done a lot of different things, right? You shared some of the insight of all the different things. Was there a moment, because I know that you've said this, but was there a defining moment where you've said to yourself, wow, I really don't have everything figured out? Like, was there something specific, or is that kind of like, it happens every day, I realize I don't know how much I know?
Yeah. Yeah. There are some key moments in my life. I guess maybe pivot points, I'd label them, where I just was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I don't know if I would have labeled it that way when I walked into Wings Event Center. I was, 36 years old. I didn't walk in, and even though I may have said the words I didn't know, it wasn't it was a different conscious level of it. A lot of
Yeah,
this has been in hindsight, where I
sure.
look back and I say, oh, yeah, I really didn't know how to get from A to B, but I knew the steps to figure it out. But it was all unconscious competence.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just got.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
you can't just stay in one place to figure it out. You've got to keep going.
Yeah,
So
you
I
need to
think
move.
so let me ask you this, Toni. Like, why do you think high achievers feel such pressure to appear like they always know the answer?
I'm still trying to figure this one out. I think the short answer is this: ego.
Yes.
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 The short answer is ego, and let me be very vulnerable and candid. I always am, but I've been working on my ego, and there's a big difference between ego and pride. And I've been coaching a
Mm.
lot of my clients on this lately. Pride is a good thing. Pride is something we're really proud of. I'm proud of those Guinness World Records. I don't have an ego about it,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
but I'm
Yes.
proud of it. Ego is when someone might. I'll give a real life example. I'm in a meeting today with my boss and one of my direct reports. And I said to him, my direct report, I said, go ahead. You shared a great idea this morning as we were prepping for this meeting. Please share it with my boss. Old
Love that.
Toni, old Toni would have been like, oh, I just repeat back what he told me in a meeting and make it look like I look good to my boss. See, no, no, no. That my ego is at work. And I was really proud of myself today because of the growth I could see. So that was a very long-winded answer, but ego, ego, ego.
Yeah, no, I love
Absolutely.
that. How do you think people stay teachable after reaching a certain level of success? Like, there's a point in your career. I mean, you've been there for 12 years, you've had success, but how do you still say, I have more to learn, even though you've been in this role for 12 years?
Well, I have a lot of humility. And it's just like, how could I possibly know everything? And I will say I'm in a very unique position, not just my job, but we're building a new arena here in Kalamazoo.
Wow.
I don't know how to do that. So, I mean, I'm up against it in terms of learning and creating a whole new sales team structure, a whole new product suite of selling. I mean, everything is changing. So, in this job in particular, I've been faced with three major experiences that have shaped just this continual learning. Plus, as you heard when I introed myself, I've got all this other stuff where I call growing out. So I'm always working on something on the side where I want to learn and grow. So that
Yeah.
feeds that too.
Yeah, I
That's
love that.
good. Okay, so you talked about change. Is there something that you believed early in your career that you just think completely differently about now?
Oh boy, I never said a thing about young Toni. I don't know. I mean, I think I've always been the same, this hungry, driven, fire in the belly version. I will say this. I think I'm less naive and not so, and I'm more jaded. So I don't know if that, and that is just a product of, working in a male dominated industry, working in a very public facing job,
Yeah.
people thinking they know how to do your job better than you and then talking about it online all the time. And
Mm.
so I've become a little more jaded, but I think that's a good thing because I think my parents did a great job raising me, but I was a little sheltered, like it's not always skipping around in daisy fields with rainbows,
Those
cotton
and
candy, and
unicorns.
unicorns.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I never heard the cotton candy part to that. I'm going to add that to our repertoire when we talk about rainbows and unicorns.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like the cotton candy. Well, let me ask you this, because this is kind of maybe a piggyback to it. Like, when you're expected to lead, right? And this goes back to what we were talking about, I think, a little bit ago about ego. So the expectation is you're leading this charge, whatever that is. But if you don't know the answer, what does Toni do? And then what would you say to people who are in that position? Because I think oftentimes leaders pretend they know the answer, but they really don't.
All the time. I see it every week, all the time. And I'm like, what? Are you just not saying I don't know? So number one, I walk the walk. If I'm in a meeting I don't know, I literally say I don't know. And then I follow it up with, okay, this is where my leadership pillars came from. When I was, when my alma mater asked me to speak years ago at a class for business students, and they were like, you turned the hockey franchise around. How'd you do it? I'm like, I don't know. And then I sat down and wrote out 6 things I did, which became my leadership pillars. And number one is go to the experts. Mm-hmm. And that is literally what I do and you can do this personally or professionally. And I built my whole TEDx talk around those 6 leadership pillars and gave 2 different examples with 2 different stories and share that.
So when leaders do pretend that they know everything, that feels dangerous. Like, what are some of those dangers that come along with pretending that you know everything?
That they tend to, in my experience, they tend to be very influential. They're very persuasive. They're usually the individuals who are the squeakier wheels, and you really have to step up and be curious. So that's my counter to that is I come at it with curiosity, and I ask a lot of open-ended questions, not to be a jerk, but really to understand their perspective. Yeah. And so I come to learn, and that's always how I frame it.
I think a lot of people feel like when you come with questions, unfortunately, like that you are being a jerk. Like,
and they are very defensive too.
Yeah. So it's almost like you have to frame it. Like, listen, I'm going to ask, you have to tell them, I guess, the why, because I'm a question asker, but that's how I learn. That's how I grow. That's how I solve problems. Tell me more, tell me this, tell me that, help me understand, right? But people do get like, why is she asking so many questions? Like, just do the thing. But that's not my personality. So,
right. So I do frame it. I immediately frame it up like, I say, I'm here to learn and I'm open-minded. Tell me. And then I just go into the question, trying to keep them off the defense.
Right. Yeah.
No, I think you have to.
That's smart.
So we've talked again, you've had a lot of different things going on in your life. You've played different roles, and I would suggest that you had to reinvent yourself possibly, right? Like what you did in the past and what you're doing now and what you're doing in the future with the book and the TEDx and all of this. What is one of the greatest lessons that you learned through the like the transformation or the reinvention of Toni?
Yeah, there's a lot of lessons. I would say at the simplest, and I think this is the hardest for people, is like willingly make mistakes and use them. Not like you try to, but we all make mistakes.
With it.
Be okay.
Yeah, and learn from them. And they're varying degrees of mistakes, but I remember those as growing opportunities way more than my successes. Yeah. And so I view that as, just ripe soil for growth. Yeah. And I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't make a shit ton of mistakes.
Yeah, so, none of us would be. Missy and I always say we made a memory.
We made a memory. And the bottom line is... Right?
And those are the things we remember. Yeah. Like, if we sat down and tried to remember all the great stuff, like, we'd have to really sit in it. But, like, off the top of our head, we're like, remember this, remember this, remember this, remember this. And those were the memories we made from, like, the debacle.
Yeah, we always say mistakes make us better, and that mistakes are seldom fatal. Right? Like, very seldom are you going to make a mistake and it's fatal. So I want to ask you this, because you've said it several times. Is there something other than the arena, because we know that's a whole learning experience on its own. Is there something you're working on or learning right now outside of that huge project?
Yeah, how to launch a book. Yeah.
You've got 2 big things.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole world of being an author. I mean, and just the book launching today is just such a huge thing. But it literally is a separate business. And I'm learning about all of that and what it takes. And it really is truly up to me. And in terms of what am I investing, time, energy, money. Writing the book is one thing.
Yep.
Selling it is another. And they are two totally different endeavors.
Oh, yes, they are.
They absolutely are. Well, girls, I think this is a great transition into our big takeaway for the week. Let it be this: if you take away one thing from this episode, the best leaders are not the ones who learn and know everything. They are the ones who are willing to keep learning.
Yeah.
Growth starts the moment you stop pretending you've arrived. The leaders who stay curious, ask questions, admit those mistakes, make those memories, they're the ones that remain teachable and also are usually the ones who evolve while everyone else is staying stuck where they are.
You are so right, Macy. You don't need complete certainty to take the next step, right? Too many people just delay action because they think that confidence comes first. But most growth happens while you're figuring it out in real time. I mean, we all just had stories of that, right? Leadership is so much less about having all the answers and so much more about being willing to learn as you go.
Yeah.
And so, Toni, thank you so much for being with us today.
Fun.
It really was. If our listeners want to stay in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, ToniWill.com, 8 letters. It packs a lot of punch. Yes, I'd say.
And tell our listeners, where are they buying the book today?
They could go to any bookstore outlet, Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
And the title?
Rebellious Success.
Rebellious Success.
I mean, just the title, like, has grit to it, right? I love it.
I love it.
Here is a question, Toni. We ask all our guests, what is your favorite leadership quote?
Yeah, I talked about this quote. I inserted it in my TEDx, and it is my North Star. If you're in the majority, pause and reflect. And that is by Mark Twain.
That is so good.
I've got to ponder that a little bit.
I know. I've never heard it. We need to pause and reflect. We're not in the majority, but we do need to pause and reflect. And listeners, do you have a favorite leadership quote? Send it our way and we may spotlight it on a future episode.
And we'll be back next week with another quote and more leadership insights. And you all know what we're going to do.
Yes, we're going to talk about it. Bye, Toni. Bye, Bessie.
Bye, ladies.
Bye. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this show, please show us some love by clicking the 3 dots to download the podcast, leave us a 5-star rating on your podcast app, and talk about it with other leaders to help them find the show from any of the major podcast apps. We'd love for you to follow us on social media too. Mpactful with an M _ messages on Instagram and Mpactful Messages on LinkedIn.